Hello there and welcome to another gluten-free and yeast-free baking video. How are we doing today? Today I'm going to be making a gluten-free simple cinnamon loaf. I absolutely love the banana loaf and cinnamon is one of my all-time favourite flavours, so I wanted to combine the two. So, you'll be needing the following equipment: scales, measuring spoons, a 2-pound bread tin, spray oil, baking paper, a wooden spoon or an electric hand whisk, a large mixing bowl, a spatula, a teaspoon handle, a cake tester, a skewer or a toothpick to see if the cake is cooked, and a cooling rack. You'll also be needing the following ingredients: 140 grams of butter softened at room temperature. I like to use lactose-free butter. 140 grams of caster sugar, 2 medium-sized eggs beaten, 140 grams of gluten-free self-raising flour, and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Let's go! First things first, measure out all of your ingredients so that they're completely ready for you to use, and then preheat your oven to 180 degrees C on a conventional oven, 160 degrees C on a fan oven, or gas Mark IV. Now that is all done, the first thing we have to do is prepare our bread tins. So, the first thing I like to do is give it a good spray with some spray oil, making sure to get all the sides so that it doesn't stick. Now it is time to cut out our baking paper, so putting the lid back on so you don't lose it. Now that you've sprayed your bread pan, place it onto your baking paper as close to the edge as you can so that you don't waste more than you have to. Cut a snip out, cut along the line. Ooh, when I find it. Now that you've cut out your baking paper, place it on top of your baking paper and draw around the bottom a bit. And now cut that out. Now place everything you don't need to one side, including your rubbish. Now place your baking paper into your bread tin with the side you drew on facing down, so that you don't get it onto your lovely loaf. Flattening it as much as possible. And now that we've done that, I stupidly got rid of my spray oil even though we need it. Come on. There we go. Spray the bottom just a little bit more, just so that it makes it easier for the baking paper to come off of your cake. Now that you've finished all that prep work, it's now time to actually make the cake, and the first thing we have to do in doing that is mix together our butter and our sugar. So, adding our butter to our bowl. Now grab your caster sugar and just sprinkle it on top. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Scraping down the sides to make sure it all gets in there. Now mix together until light and fluffy. Now that they are well combined and light and fluffy, grab your eggs. Now that you've got your eggs, just tip them in one big go, scraping down the sides to make sure you get them all in there. Now mix them together until they are well combined. This is really important, guys. You need to make sure that the butter is really mixed in with the eggs, otherwise you'll get air holes. And I also think that mixing them together, as much as I do anyway, makes the cake fluffier in the first place. So, now that is done, grab your gluten-free self-raising flour and your ground cinnamon. Now that you've got your gluten-free self-raising flour and your teaspoon of ground cinnamon, I am going to place all of the cinnamon into the mixture in one big hit, making sure that all of it gets in as per usual by scraping down the sides. Now that I have added the cinnamon, I'm going to mix that in completely with the mixture, and then continuing mixing, I'm going to add a little bit of the flour at a time to the mixture until it is well combined. Now scraping down your flour bowl just to make sure it all gets in the mixture. And again with the cinnamon just to be sure. And now scraping down the sides of your mixing bowl. Now mix one final time for good luck. Now that is all done, grab your bread tin. Now all we have to do is simply place our mixture into our bread tin. So, now spread that across with your spatula. Don't worry about getting it as flat as possible because it flattens itself out in the oven. Now give it a quick jiggle round for good luck just to make sure it gets in all of the corners. Now that is done, place it into your preheated oven for 40 to 45 minutes until you insert a cake tester, a skewer, a toothpick or a teaspoon handle and it comes out completely clean. And then leave it in its tin to cool on a cooling rack for 10 minutes and then take it out of its tin and leave it to finally cool until completely cool. And that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description, including the recipe for this lovely cake and my shop where you can buy all the flour and the equipment you will need for this recipe. If you do make this lovely cake at home, don't forget to tag me on Instagram and use the hashtag bakingwithvickiie, which I will put in between my hands. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see me make gluten or yeast free on this channel, as I do both. And finally, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Bye! Well, I best try this for you, so give me 1 second. Here we go. Oh. I love cinnamon.